Hello developers, my name is Adrian, and today I wanted to keep looking at React Navigation 5 and building out some more functionality and features. We're going to have a look at adding icons, customizing headers, creating a drawer nav, maybe also accessing the navigation with and without props, as well as nested navigators. Let's start by installing React Native Vector Icons. This is a popular library for accessing all types of fonts and icons within React Native. We'll start by installing the package. Yarn add package name. Now that that's done, let's have a look at what other manual steps are required to get it running on Android. So here we'll have to edit the Android app build.grendel and add the following line. There we go. With this step done, let's rerun our package so that it can load the new dependencies. I'm just going to run npx react native run android. Let's import this into our project. We'll do this by importing React Native vector icons. We'll call the font awesome, and down here in our tab component, we'll add a prop called options with a variable called tab bar icon that calls a function of the icon that we want to render. In this case, we're rendering in a rocket icon for the home screen. Let's save and see if that works. And it did. Something you may have noticed is that the icon doesn't change colors when we swap screens. This can be fixed by accessing the color prop in tab icon and passing that prop to the icon component below. Now the icon changes and turns gray when we swap screens and turns back blue when it's active. Let's find some better icons for our application. If you go to React Native Vector Icons, they'll have an option here that allows you to search through all their icons whenever you need. Let's pull that up now and let's search for a fire icon. Here we go. Let's put that in here. That looks great. Let's add one for the details page as well. Let's copy this prop and add it here below. And in this case, let's have a look at another icon, maybe the fire extinguisher. That looks great. Another thing we can do is update the primary color for our tab navigation. We can do this by setting the prop in the primary tab navigator with tab bar options and active tint color. In this case, I'm using red. Let's take a look at Drawer Navigation. It's essentially a side menu for your application that you can swipe left or right for. To get started, we'll first have to install the dependency. Let's run yarn add react navigation /drawer at next. Now that's done, let's rerun our application package so that it has the new dependency. Let's import the createDrawerNavigator into our application, call the function to create the components, and replace our previous navigator with this new one. Let's reload the application, and here we can see that we've got a side navigator with the two options that both work. In some cases, you might want to nest navigators. To do this, you create them separately and nest one within the other. We already have two navigators, so let's use those as an example. We'll cut out this tab navigator and we'll create a new functionless component below. We'll remove the comments and we'll remove the state that we're using. We'll call this component inside of the drawer screen. If we refresh this in our application, we can now see that we have the bottom navigator and we have the drawer navigator. But if you do swap to the second option, our nested bottom navigator isn't there anymore. If you want to access different navigators, we can still use the buttons by using the prop navigation.navigate and its function. However, in some cases, you might not want to pass this down to every single child to access this functionality. In those cases, we can use higher order components, or we can create a service for you to be able to access this anywhere. To access it without passing it down to all the children components, let's have a look at the useNavigation option here, which is a hook that we can use inside our application. This can be called to access the screen that we want. In this case, maybe the detail screen. Let's import this button to our application and see if it works. Perfect. Another option is to create a reference to it, which we'll be able to access anywhere, even inside a store, for example. To do this, we'll first have to create a service. We'll do this by creating a new file in our application called navigationService.js. In here, we'll copy the syntax that React Navigation recommends, which is this one here, and then we'll import it into our application and call it as a reference in our primary Navigator container. With this done, we should be able to access it anywhere in the application. Let's test this out by creating a separate file called ref_button.js. In here, we'll import the service and create a functionless component that has a button that on press will call the service and navigate us to the details screen. Let's import this into our application. And let's put this on our home screen and test it out. Now we've got the 3 buttons, and if we select Ref Details, we can see it takes us to the details page using the new service we've created. Finally, let's see what options are available for us to customize our header in our screens. Here's the stack navigator we created earlier. Let's remove this code and create a functionless component called oldStack, which will pass to our drawer nav. By doing this, we should be able to access the header when we select the drawer navigation screen. Now that we have a header, let's remove this old syntax for setting the state, and let's replace it with an option prop inside our screen that'll have a header title called Details Screen, and on the right we'll have a button that'll alert when a user presses it. When we save this and reload our application and go to the details screen, we can see the header has been updated and the button exists up here. If we do select it, we see the alert pops up. If you navigate between screens now, you'll see that the header updates with the title as well as a back button, but you can still change this by updating the options prop on each screen component. I hope this video helped you understand React Navigation's 5 component-based library a lot better. If you have more questions or feedback, or have other things you'd like me to cover, please leave it in the comments below. And yes, definitely subscribe and leave a like because it helps me know what kind of content you guys are after. Thank you.